All right, good morning, you guys. It's the start of day 2, and I don't know what's gonna happen. Let's just get going. And boom, now you got a rock. If you're just tuning in on the last video, we demoed a giant 2-story fireplace and hand removed all of the rock off from it. And now we're going to start putting it back together. This is a lightweight artificial rock that you sometimes see at zoos and amusement parks. He's like, oh, it's raining out. I'm canceling the delivery. I'm like, no, you're not canceling the delivery. All right. Let's lay one right out on the deck. How big of sheets are they? All different sizes, but I don't know. If I remember right, they're 4x8 or something like that. Or much bigger. And boom, now you got a rock. Guys, I'm gonna jump in here because I know we're using this stuff on my fireplace, but I see absolutely so much potential with this stuff to cover up ugly retaining walls. If you've got a retaining wall that's structurally fine, but just uglier than a mud duck and you wanna cover it up, this stuff will go up in a jiffy. We opt to start at the top and work our way down because Frankie's still doing some detail work on the bottom of the fireplace. And so we've got to get these big sheets all the way up and through the house. All right, to make handling these big bulky sheets easier, the boys have folded them over and they're just using ratchet straps, and then they'll use it like a handle. Pretty simple. They're not heavy, it's just bulky. And some of you are probably noticing we didn't end up using the straps as handles after all.
I don't know where I'm going, but I don't want to know. A predictable life is not what I want. Putting one foot down, one step back.
Once we get it up the stairs, we still have to figure out how to get it up the wall.
People ask all the questions that box you in. To classify your life with the stroke of a pen. Take those old rules, crumple them and throw.
And because we're gluttons for punishment, we're going to try to install this whole sheet all at once. We could cut it into small pieces and put it up pretty easy, but why take the easy route?
Don't ever silence your voice.
I think Frankie's smirking at us because while we're upstairs wrestling with this big sheet of rock, he's downstairs doing the detail work, busting out to build a new firebox, a new ventilation system, and an inspection port on the chimney. All right, guys, part of what we're doing is looking for, visually inspecting behind here for damage, any issues, kind of going up inside the wall cavity. Looking for red flags, structural issues, pests, rot, Just trying to find out if there's anything we need to address before we close this up for another decade. With the fireplace passing inspection, the boys and I can concentrate on getting this first sheet installed. The first thing we try is a hacksaw to make the cuts along the roof line. To install the sheets, we simply use a 2.5-inch screw with a T20 head that's color coded as close to the rock as we can get. But we're going to also seal over the top of that to make sure that it blends in perfectly. We only pop in enough screws to hold it in place while we attempt to wrap it around the shape of the fireplace. To get the sheet to conform means we've got to cut it to wrap it. So our lunch is here. Do you want me to deliver it to you, Frankie?
No, I'm done.
Right, so Alex just asked a really good question why we were going with the fake stones over the stuff that we had on there. Well, the stuff we had on there looks like real stone, but it's not. It's actually made out of concrete, but it still is it's a long, tedious process to install it. So when we installed the original stuff, what we had to do was we had to wire mesh the whole thing, then we had to butter the mesh, then we had to butter the stone, and we had to start from the bottom, work our way up. So every time we would butter a stone, we'd have to crawl up the ladder, stick the new stone in place, then you got to hold it there and you got to wiggle it till it adheres. Then when you're done with that, you've got to grout all the way around it. Then because you got to start from the bottom up because it's so heavy, it's got to like hold itself up, right?
Yeah.
So you rest one on top of the other, and like a big jigsaw, you put them in place, but you're spilling on top of the stuff you've already installed. It's not possible to not spill on it. So then you got to go through and you got to carefully sand off the concrete that you spill onto the stone foot.
We might as well pull them rocks off on that side too, up to that little block that's coming out that's like it's holding the mantle up.
Before the new rock can go up, we've got to clear off all the old rock. The biggest downfall with this material is it's not fireproof. It won't blow up.
It'll melt.
But it'll melt. Which means we have to go with a non-combustible material just directly over the firebox, which is a bit of a challenge on how we're going to make that blend. But we still have small bits and pieces of rock and mesh that still have to be removed before we can even get to that stage. Do you know that the guy that sells this stuff, his name is Stu, his company's called Universal Rocks. And what he does is he actually goes out into the desert, finds the coolest rock formations he can, and then he'll mold it. He'll take all of his materials, he'll go mold out the real rock.
Take this right here, this will be over here.
This isn't the first time Frankie's used these, and he gets super picky about how they go up to get the best look out of them.
Because it looks like there's a lot more of them ledges or deals right there. So we're going to take this one here, this wall, this is going to be that corner. So if we stand it up, I'm going to show you in that corner.
Okay, so we're going to do like ballet dance. Got it. This corner here goes up. Okay?
Right, but we're going to start at the ground and work up. We'll put all our spices kind of in the middle.
Okay.
Be like, less chances of seeing it.
Okie dokie, artichoke. So this stuff's actually made out of bed liner. Same stuff you put in the bed of your truck. So you're not gonna scratch it, you're not gonna dent it, you're not gonna worry about.
You don't have to have clean cuts on it either, which is kind of nice. You don't have to worry about getting it perfectly straight. It's a little jagged. I don't.
Nope.
Can't even tell.
This is the coolest stuff to work with ever.
Dream big, 'cause boy, you're gonna make it. Stand tall, there's a higher road to take it. Let go of everything that you know and be wild in the mystery.
Okay, we're gonna pull back out. Don't push her in again. Oh, this is my boy. No.
We try to get up as much as we possibly can in the first day, but we can't get it all accomplished, and unfortunately we lose Alex to a job site the next day, but he does stop by. Hey, do you miss working on this stuff?
At least we got the big piece up for you, Jake. Yeah? Yeah.
Somebody shave your head? What happened?
I tried to give myself a haircut last night.
Yeah?
And then the attachment popped off, and it went right down to 0, so I was like,
Oh, wait, you gotta come over here. We gotta see it. Come on.
I just had to shave it all off because I messed it up, so.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I wanted to do that.
I like the short hair anyway, so.
Alex working on a job site. That leaves Trailer Jake, my son-in-law, Frankie, and I to get the last sheets up and start focusing on the details. So cutting this stuff is a challenge. We've used razor blades, knives, hacksaws. Nothing really works better than the other, except make sure it's sharp and make sure you protect your fingers. Unlike Frankie. I don't know why he doesn't wear gloves.
Pieces. Thick. There.
Cutting through a ridge is nearly impossible. Following the seams are a lot easier. God, those ridges are the tough ones.
Yeah.
That's a thick one there.
You really want to try to cut in the seams. That's always.
Am I gonna be in this scene? Yeah, I can go here. I can go here.
We still haven't found the perfect cutting tool for this stuff, and you'll see he's even going to try a grinder.
Yeah.
We've got to push this part right in.
Yeah. Cool. Cool.
Skadoosh. The boys are getting the last of the big sheets hung and in formation. I can switch to seaming. Wherever we bring two sheets together or a sheet to a wall and I want to create a naturalistic look, I use 100% silicone, and then I throw in my own mixture of dust and dirt that looks similar to the rock that I'm blending it to. Let's make that screw disappear. Shing! So now, as you're... I mean, honestly, guys, I could do a better job, but with so much to seam. Seaming is fun, easy, monotonous, and boring. What I mean is, it's fun and easy for the first 30 minutes, but then after about 5 or 6 hours, You're filthy, you're covered in silicone, there's dirt all over the floor because you've been throwing it at the wall, and you've got to clean all of that up. Fun, easy, monotonous, and boring. But we still had to figure out what we were going to do at the front of the fireplace, so I recruited my boy. We needed a non-combustible fireproof material for over the firebox and decided that the existing stones that were there were just too out of place with the other kinds of stones. As luck would have it, he starts with one of the toughest stones on the fireplace.
Oh my gosh, my bad. Oh my.
That's a big dog.
Yeah.
We also pull any loose mesh. We run down to the landscaping yard and pick up some new stones that might match the fireplace a little bit closer. But before we can install them, we've got to do a little cleanup first. Since we're going with real stone, I've got to go with the same process I used earlier. Mesh, cement, butter, grout. Where we go over the old concrete, we pre-wet it and make sure that it's in good shape. And to hold the rocks in place, we're actually putting screws in as brick ledges. Putting up rock this way is a long, slow, messy process, and we get about halfway in the first night. But we've still got to haul everything away that we tore off. you guys. I'm gonna give you an update before the project's actually completely done. We were able to get all of the stonework in. You can see it there. It does match more, but this grout is totally the wrong color. So what I've got to do is I've got to go in and grout and seam it so that it blends with everything else. You can actually see one of my seams right here. I'm going to seam in between all of the grout lines and dress it up. And so that's our video for today. I'll be honest with you, I love working with this stuff, but it gets to be a lot of work on the same token. And so that's all we've got for you. I got burned out. Frankie got burned out. He went up north. He said he was so sore from wrestling these pieces in place that he could barely sleep on his shoulder. So if you've got to do a lot of contours, you're going to need some help. If you don't have to do a lot of contours, flat pieces, this stuff is the bomb diggity. And that's it. God bless. Go get him, you guys. And we'll see you on another one.